Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Kind of do a quick roundup of some, because this is a busy time for you guys in your industry here. Girls basketball, the brackets came out for the state tournament here. Now those games will start next week because we're still wrapping up some of the regular season stuff here. But we know the seats for some, and it seems like we got quite a few local teams, either a 1 seed or a top seed in our area over here too. So even whether it's maybe some of the mid divisions, Menominee though Division 2 is a 1 seed, I believe.
Yeah,
over
deserved.
there.
It's a really good team.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, well represented all across the board. I know I went through them a little bit earlier. Let me bring up my Word document here that I had some of the local ones over here. But Division 1 Memorial's a 4, Chi High's a 16, and North is a 15. Menominee is a 1. And they will play potentially River Falls or Wausau East, whoever wins that game. Rice Lake's a 3, and they could play either New Richmond or my Medford Raiders.
That's going to be a tough team. I don't think anybody's going to want to run. I don't think anybody's going to run any of these teams. But yeah, Rice Lake, that's a 3. That's a sneaky 3. And the Shepley sisters there can score a lot of points.
And is it similar to like maybe football in that Rice Lake plays a really tough regular season schedule once and kind of prepares them for the postseason?
I mean, if you look who they play, obviously Memorial a 3 in Division 1, and then you've got Menominee and 1 and 2. I mean, I think for Rice Lake that it always bodes well. It always helps. It's I always look at it like The Rookie, the movie with Dennis Quaid.
Yes.
These kids were didn't realize he was throwing 95, 96 miles per hour.
Yep.
So then when you go down a little bit, I think that's what really helps Rice Lake in these situations.
Nice. I like that analogy. Nice.
I know. It just kind of seems like they're getting the fastball all the time.
Yep.
And and I don't want to discount their opponents, but you know what I mean. Like they're getting tough opponents every time they're out there in conference play.
Baldwin Woodville's a 1 in D3. They'll play either Bloomer or Northwestern. Elk Mound is a 1 in D3.
Well-deserved one for sure.
Altoona's a 3 seed, and they could either play Black River Falls or Mauston.
That Altoona team, watch out. That's a team I think that can go far and has shown they can play anybody.
Yeah.
So I think that's another one of those 3s. If we're looking at those 3 and 4s that we have in our area, those are some super tough teams.
Yeah, and then Division 4, I mean, holy moly here. Fall Creek's a 1. We got Fall Creek's a 1. Colfax is a 5. Regis is a 3. Durant, Arkansas is a 2. McDonald Central's a 1. Neilsville's a 1. Cameron's a 3. I mean, you got a bunch of top seeds in this area.
You like that where it's bounding towards a McDonald Fall Creek rematch down the road. Now, again, there's a lot of good teams in between there, and who knows what happens, but if it plays out, those two teams just played last week with Fall Creek giving McDonald their first loss of the season, first conference loss of the season. So
I mean, then you got Neilsville. It's just a program,
right?
Over there
Exactly.
Too,
I mean, the Clover Belt teams, and I know crossovers this week since this is the last week of it. So we'll kind of get a preview with that. I don't know exactly the seedings right now. Fall Creek I think Fall Creek and McDonald are tied atop. So I'm not sure who gets the 1, how that ends up going.
Right, but there's just that. It seems like Division 4, Division 5 always. Basketball, you got really good matchups across the board.
And with McDonald moving down to D4, I mean, you throw them in that mix, and it's just going to be crazy.
Yep. And then D5, Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran is a 7 seed over there too, so they get to host Frederick.
Yes,
over there. Yep. And your favorite gym, one of your favorite gyms.
The decor.
Yep, the decor over there.
Chef's kiss.
So it's hard to believe we're already talking about girls basketball brackets.
I mean, we're talking hockey playoffs this week.
Yep, exactly.
And that's going to start up tomorrow. You got both Memorial and North playing in the regional semifinal games at Hobbs in a doubleheader. So, and then you go the winner of North's game. They play DC Everest, I believe, tomorrow. Will play at Chi High, the number 1 seed. So, I mean, again, that hockey, we talked about it last week, is just going to be knocked down, drag out to see who ends up going to state in that the sectional of death or whatever we wanted to call it. There. Yeah, it's pretty insane. So,
that, as you said, that all begins tomorrow. North taking on DC Everest. Then we got Memorial taking on, is it the Barron Co-op?
Yep.
Over there?
Is that I don't know. I can't remember on a Monday morning.
And then, North, if they win, they would take on Chi High. Memorial would take on the winner of Superior or Ashland Co-op. Hudson's got a bye. They would take on Merrill Co-op or Wausau West. And then Spash has a bye, too, at the bottom end of that bracket.
But, those teams you see in there, The ones that are catch your eye, of course, Chi-Hi, the number 1 team.
Mm-hmm.
And after a great game with Memorial last week that went into overtime, they got the win. So you get Chi-Hi, you got Memorial, you've got Hudson, and you've got Spash.
Yeah.
And one of those teams isn't going to state. Three of those teams aren't going to state. Only one of those teams is going to make it to state.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
That's insane, man. That's insane. And then, I mean, Division II, you still got a lot of local.
Yes.
New Richmond's a 1 seed in there. Rice Lake's a 4 seed. You've got, on the other side, Menominee's a 1 over there, too. Altoona Co-op's a 7. They're going up against number 2 River Falls over there. Black River Falls that's an interesting one. Black River Falls Co-op versus Baldwin Woodville St. Croix Central in a 4-5 matchup. So, I mean, even in Division II, you've got a lot of local teams still in action, too.
Good chance we get one of our local teams. I would say, almost guaranteed with the way that bracket breaks down, that one of the local teams goes. And again, these are a lot of teams in that D2 that have been playing a D1 conference schedule.
Right.
That's going to help when they move over there. So I think Menominee last year made the run. Mm-hmm. New Richmond, number 1 team in Division II. Ram, don't discount them. Making a run. And, I mean, there's those teams that just Baldwin Woodville. So, somebody's going to – 2 is always more of a crapshoot, I think, than you'll really ever see. 1 is crapshoot, too, because just how the competition as well. So, it'll be interesting to see how it all in 2 weeks. Who's heading over to, is it Middleton, the Madcaps?
Yes, I believe so. So, and then is it for, let me just bring
girls,
it up. Girls, that's where
ECA and Chippewa Falls Menominee will be playing each other on Friday.
Okay.
In the, I guess that would be just the regional finals. Mm-hmm. Because the bracket's a little smaller there. So
there it is, yes. Right on and that winner would go up against River Falls Co-op.
Right. So, I mean, these are teams that they're all familiar with each other. Because, I mean, the pool's a lot smaller in girls hockey. Mm-hmm. So most of these teams have already played each other at some point in the season. So they know it tends to make it a little more intense that way, too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Back to boys hoops here. I know they got another week here before the brackets come up, but what a huge win for North boys on Friday nights against Memorial.
I think that the first time I figured it out since 2021, from looking back, since they'd beat Memorial.
Was that maybe Dalton Banks?
I think Banks was gone.
Banks was gone? Okay.
But so I had, but right after his era, because I think he had graduated in 2020.
Okay.
I remember his last game might have been that sectional in Rapids where no one was allowed to go to. And then But, I mean, for them, that just shows that North team is immensely talented. Mm-hmm. So is that Memorial team, don't get me wrong. And I know they wish they had Jesperson, I'm sure, on the floor for that one, but don't discount what North did. Mm-hmm. North is a team that has guys all around, and when it all gels, that's a team you do not want to see in the playoffs. So that's a huge boost going in this final 2 weeks here of the regular season.
So how does that, I mean, I got to admit, does that make this final week even more tighter for a conference for the BRC?
Yes, I would believe so. I don't have the standings right in front of me, but I think that's Memorial's second conference loss because they lost to River Falls earlier in the season there. So I would think that would put River Falls right around there.
Yeah.
Hudson and Rice Lake probably battling right up there with them as well. And North not too far behind. So, it tells you when we get to the playoffs, all bets are off because I think these teams are going to be really, and like the Menominees as well, and then the River Falls are going to move down a division, and so will Rice Lake. So, again, great competition in the big rivers, and really helps for their postseason.
Absolutely. So, and I know we got some crossovers coming up. That would be in a couple weeks, though, right? Because
for the boys, yes, I think it would be the week next week.
Next week, yeah. Got to get that in my mind.
Well, I know you're trying to. Everything's kind of staggered here with the hockey, and then and then this weekend we have swimming. Championships, swimming and diving championships. That's down in Waunakee.
Because was it the Eau Claire Alliance took second in the sectionals?
Over in Hudson.
Yep.
And then we've got wrestling sectionals, team sectionals as well this week.
Menominee, didn't they? They won their regional title, I think, and shout out Medford did too. So
so they'll be battling in the teams on Thursday, and that's at Menominee. And then Cadot's hosting as well. So
some wrestling schools they're hosting, it sounds like.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Menominee and Cadot, too, right there that you're thinking of. So, I mean, we're in the thick of it right now.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So we got that going on. Blue Golds-wise, we've got kind of a tough weekend for the girls basketball team going up against Stout, the rivalry there. But the men's team picked up a big win.
2 in a row, which is good. I mean, obviously they're out of the running right now for the WIC tournament. So now you're just trying to get your bragging rights there
right
as the season goes on. And it's a tight race for that final spot in the WIC tournament. Stout.
Yeah.
Right there in that battle for that final spot. I think everybody going into the weekend was like 4-6 or 5-6. So there's some battles on both sides, and Blue Gold women, same thing.
Right.
Battling for that final spot because Stout has caught fire after struggling early on in conference play. And I don't know if they had all the components, if there was injuries, but they look like a different team now than they did when we were seeing them a month ago.
Because they were, at the beginning, they were ranked, weren't they, too? Like some
high
expectations.
I think they were up to
Stout.
10th at some point in D3 hoops. So, for them to kind of struggle, but now find their way at the right time, that's a team that, they could, if they play it right, we've seen them beat anybody, could win that WIC conference tournament, but you still got to get in.
Right, yep, exactly. Hockey-wise, men's hockey, they bounce back in the War on 94 series, whatever we want to call it, but they're the second seed in the WEAU tournament.
Yes,
I believe.
Points, I think, clinched it with that win, with Stout's win on Friday.
Yep.
So now it's up to the Blue Gold men. I think you got to win that tournament. Pairwise rankings, I don't think they've got enough to sneak into the tournament with all the at-large bids. So I think it's, if anything, you got to make the conference championship to have a chance. But winning it, obviously, you get the automatic bid, I think, and that's a team that can do it.
Yep.
And they've had unfortunately some tough losses. I think the Stout would go down as a tough loss late in the season. It's a rivalry game though, and you're on the road, so I don't. And it was a 2-1 game. It's not like it was. Right. It was just a tough loss there, but that's a team that can beat anybody.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Tournament wise, you got to make that run.
So they get the bye. We won't see them until towards the end of the month when they host, but the 23rd and the 24th, I believe it is. So getting ready for that. And then, women's side of things for women's hockey, too. I know they've got another big game coming up here against River Falls that could kind of change some things, I would imagine.
I almost got them last week.
Yeah, overtime.
So now you get them again on Saturday afternoon. Really, it's more or less probably bragging rights at this point going into the conference tournament. But it's something you want to know. You want to know that you've got them one time. You want to be that team that hands them that first loss.
Yep.
And if you can do that, you've got that confidence going into the conference tournament that, who knows? Right. Again, there's no automatic bid in the women's side, so every win like that is going to be huge. So it's out, and I think Strand said it. I mean, they're in must-win. So they know they're in playoff mode now.
Absolutely, and that's going to be at Hobbs, so I got to imagine Hobbs on Saturday is just going to be on fire.
Probably Parents' Night or something like that, too, because it's the final home game of the regular season, so senior night. It's
going to be lit, as the kids say, right?
It'll be a good one.
We do have some WIAC championships for some other sports, though. We got swimming and diving WIAC championships, but then wrestling WIAC championships.
Yeah.
So all this season with wrestling and Tim Fader's group and how well they've done, now it really gets interesting. This is what they've worked up for, isn't it?
Yeah, and they've been just... Now, I always want to say playing because it's sports, but have been wrestling. They're not playing. They have been grappling very, very well. And they had the win over Point at home. Yep. Their dual record is insane. I mean, that's a team that just goes out there and gets the job done. So now, move on to the WIC. And again, we've talked about how nationals are going to be down in lacrosse. So they want to just keep that step going towards that goal.
Yep. That duel 33-8. Against Point. When they won, like you mentioned, it's just kind of almost been dominating.
They had another guy get his 100th win.
Yeah.
And that to me, that's the biggest thing is that you have teams, these guys who have been on the team long enough to get those 100 wins. And that just talks about Fader building up that team.
Yep.
And I saw Izzy Balzinger was back is wrestling with them. This is a guy who was a star at Chi High like 10 years ago. Came back, had some eligibility left, and
look at that
wrestling for them. So that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, they've got to be thinking national championships, right?
Oh, that's got to be the goal.
Team or individuals or both, or at that point. So
I think they just want to keep this ball rolling.